All right, welcome back. Things may have settled down, or at least they feel like it for the moment. Who knows? We've mentioned Bitcoin, though, on this show, the Fed and PPI so far, and all of them have a role to play in the value of the stocks we trade every day, right? But what we really want to know is there a chance of a Santa Claus rally anywhere in our future here? It looks as though the chances of a rate cut have improved dramatically, according to the CME FedWatch tool. Right now, they're anywhere between, say, 80 to 85%. I think 82% last time I looked, that the Fed is going to cut rates at their December 10th meeting by 25 basis points. So that'll be good. One thing is clear, though, for sure. The trajectory of rates looks to be going lower. Big, beautiful bill, that's going to kick in the first couple of quarters next year. And will definitely be at the back end of everybody's tariff worries, too. So sounds pretty good if you ask me. I'm looking forward to 2026. Let's ask our next guest what his thoughts are on the subject. Please welcome into the show Mr. Keith Fitz-Gerald, the Sultan of Seattle. There he is. Thanks for being on, brother. All right. What are your thoughts here? I mean, I think things are looking pretty good. Obviously, we've had a bumpy ride up until now, but maybe that starts to settle down and we do have a chance for a Santa Claus rally. What are your thoughts there? It's just fun to talk about.
I agree 100% with you because stocks in crypto in particular are both demonstrating behavior that's consistent with bottoming. People think it's like a light switch, Scott, but it's not. It's a process. And you got to weed out the weak money, transfer it to the strong, and then you got to have conviction and certainty. And if we do get a rate cut, both of those things are going to return. And I think there's an awful lot of money that is going to be looking for a home in a hurry because they're going to want those names on the balance sheet come December 31st. And then to accelerate into 2026, which, by the way, I think could be a spectacular year.
I'm glad that you say that because I really do take a lot of what you have to say to heart. But I want you probably know Mike Lee. He's not on Fox as much as you are, but nobody else is either. You're always on every day, it seems like. But he said that he looks at Bitcoin. I don't know how much you look at stuff outside of equities, but he does at times, and he thinks Bitcoin is going to be his quote-unquote North Star. When that finally does start to turn, he thinks that will probably lead equities higher. What do you think about that?
Well, Mike's a very sharp guy, and I know him well. He's a good guy, good man, super sharp thinker. I would disagree with it. It's going to lead equities higher. I think what's going to happen is it's more like going to be water in a bucket. It's going to flow higher as the bucket fills up because all of those are risk assets now. They're collateralized. The institutions are on board. So to me, you can't have one without the other rather than a pull-push relationship like we did in the old days with, say, the S&P 500 and the E-minis or any of the big tech names and the broader NASDAQ. Now you've got all the computerization linking. So it's really, is it net flow in or net flow out? I think we're going to get net flow in.
But it's interesting to me. I was going to say funny, but it's not funny. It's because it's frustrating at times. But it's interesting to me, this psychology that we almost want to hurt ourselves, right? People want to have something to worry about. They're worried about the other shoe dropping. It can't be this good. But there are some times where things can be good, and you just have to let it go. You don't always have to be looking for the boogeyman around the corner. And I think that we've really kind of almost our own imagination has been our own worst enemy. We've almost willed ourselves into this sell-off because we're always worried about what's around the corner. What do you think about that?
Well, that cuts to the very core of what I have spent 45 years in global markets doing. People play not to lose, Scott, but the people who play to win dramatically win bigger, better, longer, and more consistently. So it's natural to fear the boogeyman and the unknown because somehow that's comforting, right? That's wired into millions of years of evolutionary behavior. But if you look at where the financial markets are going now, history shows beyond any shadow of a doubt that innovation produces, optimism produces profits. And yeah, they may stutter or slow down from time, but that relationship has never broken in recorded human history. So it makes sense to play to that over time, even though you fear moments in time. You're absolutely spot on.
Yeah, and so again, like you just said, I agree with you, and maybe that's dangerous, but I mean, the things that are looking for
Definitely.
the first, second quarter next year, and Scott Bessent says the same thing, things are looking better. Now, I know that there are some rough parts of the economy, and we do have a kind of a K-shaped recovery where 70 to 80% of folks are still not really benefiting from any of the inflation that we saw. Hopefully these lower rates help them out, but that might not really give them the house they want to get. I mean, there's a lot of things out there we can still talk about which are negative, but I tell you what, this transformational artificial intelligence, the robots that I think Elon Musk is going to be bringing us around the corner, I just couldn't be more excited about how that's going to change things. I know that there's going to be some difficult times. I get that. And there are going to be some people put out of work because their jobs get obfuscated into something different. And that happened to me. I mean, that's why I'm taking it. There's no more people wearing funny colored black and white pajamas yelling and screaming on a trading floor anymore. That was my old job. I had to reinvent myself too, right? So I don't take it lightly. I get it when people are going to be displaced, but you can come out the other side. I'm a good example of that. So is Kenny Polcari. He used to be on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. But that's the type of stuff that's going to happen as this exciting new transformational technology takes hold, right? We're going to see more efficiencies and better productivity.
Well, I think we will. And, to paraphrase Peter Diamandis, who's thinking I share in this subject, we're not headed into an age of scarcity. We're headed into an age of abundance. The reason it's scary is because people don't know how to define that yet. And yes, there are huge swaths of the economy that are still hurting. People are still struggling. They're still struggling to put food on the table, a roof over their head. That's wrong. That doesn't sit well with me. But we don't know how it's going to transition. And that's the part that people are really struggling with. Everybody knows that the train is leaving the station now. The question is, are you going to be sitting up front, or are you going to be sitting in the baggage car? And I would submit that it's going to be better to learn how to make peace with AI, regardless of how you feel about it, and then get on board with all the profit it's going to create, because it's going to transform humanity, everything: healthcare, jobs, work, money, sickness, illness, health, I mean, you name it. It's going to transform how we think about ourselves.
I'm going to leave it with one thing. I want your comment before we go, but everybody's been talking about it. I say the word a lot: productivity, and what that's going to, what AI is going to do to productivity. But there's only one man, until you just said what you said, that has moved on from productivity. He's already through the productivity stage in his brain, and he's talking about abundance, and that's Elon Musk. And you just mentioned that word abundance, because that's that next step after productivity, right? 10 seconds to you before we got to go.
Mr. Musk and I have shared that opinion for a very long time. I think we're going to transcend what we have previously used to define our existence.
That's fantastic stuff. Always great to have you on, Keith. Have a great, happy Thanksgiving. Really appreciate all your content. A lot of people at RFD TV and a lot of the viewers